So guys, this is just your consent. I have started for this recording for the session. And let me set the context for this particular session, that what we are going to discuss, what we are going to understand within this particular class today. So guys, the very first thing which we are going to discuss, that is going to be that why do we need to learn Linux operating system? Second thing, that if we learn Linux operating system, then what sort of rules can we have going forward in future? In any corporate world, if you look yourself to be working somewhere, then what sort of profile will you be getting out of it? Next, what kind of infrastructures are there? We are going to discuss a couple of things, like what kind of infrastructures are there, like it is physical, it is virtual, it is based on containerization. Then after, we will be discussing about like what different kind of consumptions are there, like how do we consume a particular environment, whether what are the particular significance, why do we give different names to this environment. Then after, we are going to discuss about based on the segregation of environment based on network. These sort of things we need to understand first, because see, operating system management is really easy, but when someone comes to you and ask like how do you manage your environment? So first of all, today we will try to understand that ecosystem which is responsible to help any organization in order to set up in proper manner. So that thing we will be discussing today. Second thing, we will try to understand the roles and responsibility of Linux administrator. I hope I make myself clear, because see, Linux, definitely we will learn. We will go through Linux completely because the session is dedicated for Linux only. So, but before that, we need to understand like why and what is the particular ecosystem where we are supposed to work. We will be discussing today, like let us say if you are working as L1 application support engineer or like junior SRE, what is going to be your roles and responsibility? Second thing, if you are working as L2 engineer, or maybe like SRE engineer, you are working as site reliability engineer, or maybe you can give it a name like tech ops. We will be discussing today like what kind of roles and responsibility you can assume and what are the particular rules available in market if you have like a certain set of skills with you. So that's what I think for sure we are going to discuss today, right? And guys, it's a request, please mute yourself if you are not speaking. Until unless you need to ask a question, please mute yourself. That will be of great help. Okay. So guys, first of all, let us begin with the particular infrastructure. So guys, usually people ask that what type of infrastructure do you support? I would like to begin this particular session not with Linux, but with infrastructure. So a person may ask, okay, what kind of infrastructure do you support? So guys, anyone who has any idea about like what kind of infrastructures are available? Anyone who would like to comment anything on this?
Maybe cloud infrastructures like Azure or AWS and on-premises infrastructures.
Okay, so let us note it down. Let us say it is cloud. There are only two. Either it will be on cloud or it will be on prem data center, like on premises, like traditional data center, you can call that. And one more could be here, that is going to be combination of both, like cloud plus on-prem. Like couple of services might be running on cloud and couple of services might be running on on-prem data center. Like that is it. Is there anything else what we can assume here?
Hybrid, sir.
Okay. So when we call it like cloud plus on-prem, so this particular terminology is known as hybrid cloud. There is nothing known as hybrid, but when we like combine on-prem and this cloud infrastructure, that is known as hybrid cloud. Right, guys? Okay. So whether it is on-prem or it is cloud, so the particular kind of servers which we are going to see, there will be different categories. Now, first of all, it will be a physical server. the very first kind of server which you may need to work with, so that is going to be physical server, right? Now, what does that mean? You can call it a host. Sometimes people give it a name like physical server or host, or you can call it base machine. Base machine or like underlying hardware. Different kind of names can be given to this type of servers, but yes, end of the day, these are going to be physical boxes, physical servers. These are going to be. Now we need to understand that what kind of servers are these. Let us say that you need to host a website, then you will need a server. It could be of IBM, HP, Dell, or maybe there are multiple vendors are available in market who are ready to provide these kind of physical server hardware, physical infrastructure to you, right? So maybe it could be of Cisco and so many other vendors are there. So the very first kind of hardware which you will get to know, that is going to be based on physical server. Like let us say you have 100 server and all the servers are working as a physical server. You do not have any sort of mechanism which you can use in order to virtualize the environment. Now, what is the virtualize? Second kind of category is going to be virtual machines. You can call that virtual machine or VM, right? Either you can call it virtual machine or VM or virtual server. Now, how do we do that? So guys, you may be aware of VMware. Is there anyone who has heard of VMware? Yes, guys, anyone is aware of VMware?
Yes, I got on VMware.
Great. So it could be VMware, it could be Raven. Like Red Hat Virtualization Manager. Like Red Hat Virtualization, or maybe you can call that Zen. So Zen was older version. Now we have KVM, maybe Citrix. Even Citrix software can be used for doing virtualization. So any kind of software you can use in order to do virtualization. And for laptop, let us say if you want to create multiple machines on your laptop or desktop, whatever it is, whatever device you have. So over there we use Oracle box as well. Have you tried that ever? Oracle box instead of VMware?
Yes, sir.
Great. So like when we are in a position to create multiple virtual operating system on same physical hardware, so that particular mechanism is known as virtualization. Guys, why I am trying to explain each and everything, because I do not know like what kind of background you come from. So I feel I will be like taking this in that way that you guys all are new to this particular field. Right, guys? So that is my like assumption here, that you all are new here, and that is why I will try to explain each and every terminology, each and every jargon which I'm going to use here, which is not used in general language. That is how I'm going to cover it. So guys, physical server means, once again, let me repeat it for you. Physical server means like as we have laptop and desktop, the same way there is a different kind of hardware that is physical. We can touch it, we can carry it with us from one place to another, we can mount it on any rack. Now what is rack? So as we usually have a particular table where we work, where we have, like we work on a workstation, there's a table, there is a particular space where we can keep our laptop or desktop. The same way, there are some iron or maybe some different metals could be there. There are some different like racks. There are some different kind of like slots are there where we can mount the servers. Mounting means to fitting the server into that particular place. And those shelves are known as racks. So we can mount the physical server into rack. Virtual machines, as it is virtual, obviously we cannot touch this. We can have a particular mechanism that all the things, whatever you can do with a physical server except touching, you can perform each and every operation with virtual machine. For example, like there is a requirement to install software in physical server. For example, you need to install Firefox, or maybe Chrome, or maybe let us say Java, let us say it is PHP, let us say it is Node, any kind of software, what you can install in physical server, the same operation you can perform with virtual machine as well, right? That will be depending on the kind of operating system. Now, what is operating system? So as we most of are aware of, operating system is the mechanism to run our software into a physical hardware. Like that is going to be an interactive layer between hardware and us, right? So based on like operating system, like if it is Windows, so there are different kind of packages, different kind of softwares available. If it is Linux operating system, it is going to provide you different packages, different software. If it is MacBook, then obviously it will provide you some different kind of components, different kind of software. The type of softwares will be different, maybe name can be different, right? So these are two kind of categories here. Now third one is containerization, right? So third one is known as containers. Most of us, if we belong to like pure IT field, then most of us must have heard of Docker. Anyone aware of Docker container?
Kubernetes.
Okay, good. So yes, Docker is a particular software which does containerization for us. Docker is a particular platform, like as I was telling about VMware, Zen, KVM, and Citrix. These are the software, or maybe Oracle Box for doing virtualization on laptop basis. The same way, Docker engine is a particular platform which is used in order to containerize a platform. Moreover, guys, the facility here is containers can be created either on physical server or on virtual machines. We will discuss in detail in going forward sessions, but right now, as this is an introductory class only for this particular terminology, like why and what we need to understand here. So keep this thing in mind right now. Containers are a particular environment where we can run our software only. Keep this thing in mind, guys. Docker container or maybe Linux container. Like if you are going to work with RHEL 8 or 9, then Linux container. There is a separate component known as Linux container. So Linux container can be like default like Docker engine or container engine. You can call that like Docker, right? Okay. Now Docker or Linux containers are going to be platform where we are going to run our containers. Now, what is the difference between physical server, virtual machine, and container? So guys, we need to install a complete operating system here. The same way we will have to install a complete software here in order to run any single process. Let me take an example. For example, I want to run MySQL. That is a database, SQL database. SQL stands for structured query language. We will discuss about going forward. But for now, what we are trying to understand here is that if we need to run any database inside physical server or maybe inside any virtual machine, so first of all, we need to install a operating system here on this physical server or in this virtual machine. Once the operating system has been installed, then we will proceed in order to install software, which is known as MySQL server, into these particular two boxes, right? Now, if we talk about containers, so containers do not have its own operating system. So most of features which are required to run any process, so these containers rely.
Bro, very good morning. Good morning, bro. Wait, bro.
Yes, do you want to ask anything? Do you want to say anything?
Bro.
Okay, person might be talking on phone. Okay, not a problem. So these containers relies on the operating system which is underlying under these containers. These containers do not have any specific operating system running inside these containers, but these containers are used to run any individual process. The major difference here is containers do not have its own operating system. We need to understand this, guys. Containers do not have its own operating system, but relies on the underlying hardware, right? So this is a particular segregation of infrastructure based on the server type, like what kind of servers we are going to work with or have we already worked with, right? Okay. Second thing, the type of operating system you might have worked with. So if I talk about operating system, so guys, keep this thing in mind, whether you are going to work with cloud computing environment, maybe AWS, Azure, or maybe Google Cloud, whatever cloud you have worked so far, right? Maybe it could be AWS, Azure, or Alibaba, or anyone, whatever you like to call it. But this will be cloud. And on cloud, we are ready to have any kind of environment within cloud. Like we can have physical servers in cloud. These will be dedicated servers for us. We can create EC2 machines. EC2 means elastic cloud compute. We can create in any cloud environment, or we can run containers. So guys, wherever you work, maybe on cloud or maybe in on-prem data center, so these three kind of categories will be available for you. If your organization is ready to work with all these three kind of, then these can be made available maybe inside cloud or maybe inside on-prem data center. So we need to have a very clear understanding of these things, like what kind of environment have we worked with. This is based on server. Any questions so far, guys? Guys, any questions so far?
Hello.
Yes, Prabhat.
No questions, sir.
Okay, great. Now, second thing. So, like this is a particular segregation based on the like type of servers we have worked with, like it is physical, virtual, or container. Second type of category I would like to discuss with, that is going to be based on network. So guys, there are different kind of people who work within an organization, such as there could be a particular developer, there could be a particular tester, there could be a person who is doing audit only, there is a person who is analyzing security part of it only. So different kind of people will be working, and these people are put together in a particular group, and these groups are given some names, such as it could be a particular tech ops. Let me give a couple of names here. It could be tech ops, it could be Linux admin, or maybe application support engineer. I'm going to give first of all the profiles, then after I'll be telling you that what kind of environments do these engineers work upon. Okay, then after they're going to be a particular team known as DevOps. Right, guys? Then after it could be SRE, or it could be QA, quality assurance team. Then after it could be your security team, it could be UAT. Now, what is UAT means? UAT stands for, guys, user acceptance test, like the particular business team who actually generates the requirement. Because see, what all these teams are doing, end of the day, there is a particular business goal, what we need to support, right? So whether it is tech ops, like app support engineer, DevOps, SRE, QA, security team, UAT, or maybe like some different teams could be there. So what all we are doing? So we are supporting a particular common goal in order to success with the particular organization. This is the common goal for all of us when we are working with an organization, right? So now, tech ops team works with prod environment, or you can call it production, right? Application support engineers, most of the time these engineers are going to work with production. DevOps, development plus production. SRE, 99% these guys will be working on production only. QA engineers, if we talk about, so these guys are going to work only with development. Security only with development. UAT, dev, prod. Because see, these guys like UAT guys do not perform any operation, but yes, these guys are supposed to be responsible to check the functionality of the particular developed application. For example, let me give you example. Like there is a particular dashboard. Let us say I want that this icon should be modified in this particular website. This icon should be modified, or like I want that the length and the particular size of this particular icon should be modified. So this is a requirement from the side of business, and we call business as UAT, user acceptance test, because end of the day, what business team is trying to do, they are trying to improve the particular experience for the user. Because let us say if this might be this much small, very small, like 1/10 of it, then guys, for sure, this must not be looking good. Moreover, the visibility of this particular launch instance section must not be like this much clear as it is right now. Clear? So based on the requirement from business team, so business means obviously the particular guys who are responsible to give business ideas to a particular organization. So UAT is done on dev first of all before deploying any change to production. We will discuss about change management as well. Then after prod, like once the things are live and these are served to end users, then business team has to give couple of sign-offs in order to say that yes, the changes which have been made, these are as per our expectation. So guys, there are different teams. Right now, if we talk about like what kind of positions we are going to have after completion of this course. So guys, either you can be a particular tech ops, or you can be application support engineer, or you can work as SRE. You may be fit into one of these three positions, either tech ops or application support engineer or SRE. Now, what is the difference between these three? Let us remove all. Guys, are we aware of QA, like quality engineers who are known as tester as well? You can type in chat box. No need to unmute yourself. So these are known as QA, which are known as testers as well. Security team. So security team means the particular team who is responsible. Let us say developers are doing. Let me take one example. Like we are working on Java, right? So developers have selected some kind of vulnerable Java version where there are multiple vulnerability points. VA points are there. Vulnerability assessment points are there. Like these are really easy for a hacker to hack. Right. So security team will do analysis, and based on those analysis will inform developers that please fix all these points. Right. They will work on it, and based on that work, once again they will test. If they feel good, then it is okay. If not good, once again developers will have to fix the particular point raised by security team. Because end of the day, when we are dealing with customers' data, we are dealing with end users PII information, or like personal information, like their phone number, their PAN card, their Aadhaar card, or maybe their like MPIN or some other sort of information. If we store, then we have to be very, very vigilant that nothing is running in our environment which can be vulnerable or which can be easily hackable by a particular hacker. Right. So post completion of this particular course, what kind of profile we may be looking for? So first of all, it will be application support. Then after it will be tech ops, or like you can call that application support. There are multiple levels over here. Like you can call that L1. Like different names are given here. Like L1 profile is there, or L2 profile is there, or L3. L1, L2, L3. Now, guys, what are the roles and responsibility? Let me bring that as well into your notice. So let us say if you are working as L1 level of engineer. So there will be a couple of tickets coming in. For example, you are working with any e-commerce website. There is a particular person who has raised a ticket that I booked my order that is yet not delivered to me, but my amount has been deducted and no one is telling me where to go in order to get the details of it. So you have a couple of information about the user, like user has informed you about the phone number, about email address, about product, about the particular payment made, about the time of product purchase, every sort of information the particular customer has provided you. Now you have access to backend system. Backend means the particular system which is responsible to log each and everything, whatever the person has done so far. Right. So being L1 engineer, you will try to find out that yes, This is the user who has actually purchased some order. Now, based on your backend information, you will try to map that, okay, whether the product was actually purchased. Yes, that is fine. If product was purchased, so has the information been sent to that particular vendor who is actually supposed to deliver that? Yes, that has been sent. Has the particular vendor packed the package and has handed over to the particular delivery person? If yes, then okay. If no, then you will raise the particular point to that particular vendor that when you have received the money, then why do you not deliver it? If within given point in time, if the person has given the particular order acknowledgement, then it is okay. Otherwise, you will raise a concern to the team that we are going to initiate the refund process because the vendor is not ready to deliver the particular packet to customer, which is leading to our reputation risk. Are we clear with that? So this kind of tasks are performed by L1 engineer, like very, very basic task. Now, if you are L2 engineer, so being L2, you will be responsible for the previous task. How you are going to be responsible for previous task? Let us say when you are promoted as L2. So obviously you have information of all the L1 tasks. I gave just one example. I just gave one example over here, like for like task tracking and others. When you will become L2, so there will be someone who is going to work under you for this L1 profile. So you will be assisting that particular person now. When you have, let us say, 1 or maybe 2 years of experience. So now, guys, you will become a little more vigilant about it. You will have more responsibilities. Let us say if some you will get chance to work with database as well, real-time database, production database, you will get a chance to work with. Moreover, you will have some predefined queries. Let us say a couple of things you will have to modify, a couple of things will already be provided to you. There will be some certain set of queries which you will get to execute. Moreover, if developer is going to ask you, okay, like transaction should succeed, but why it is failing? So if developer is struggling in order to debug, like why it got failed, then you will be the person who is going to help that developer to see the logs, to help him understand the application flow. What is the application flow? Let me give you like, you can call it 10,000 feet overview. Let us say there is a user. Now user hit a URL goes to firewall. From firewall that goes to a load balancer. Just 10,000 feet overview, guys. We will discuss this particular thing in detail. Now we are going to discuss about that. This is going to be user, firewall, then load balancer. Let us say. Then after it will go to web server. What is web server? We will discuss later on. Like you can call it IIS in case of Windows, Nginx, Apache, Tomcat in case of Linux environment, web server. Maybe there is a flow for application server as well. Right? Then after it will go to DB. DB means database, right? So this is the flow. So let us say if some developer comes to you that I am not able to understand that why this request gets failed. At what particular level this request is failing? So such as the request is not reaching to database. So you will have to identify whether load balancer is forwarding request to web server. You will have to check the logs. You will have to show the logs to developer. Based on the development requirement and all the log pattern which developers have defined, they will be able to understand, okay, request is being forwarded to app server. Now, the developer may ask you to show the logs of application server. You will log into this server because developers do not have access to production server. That is the case. Developers do not have access to production server. So what they are going to do, they will ask you to show the logs. They will check logs. Okay, this is the particular moment where the particular user's request is taking a lot of time and that is getting timed out. That's why it is not being forwarded to DB server. Now the person may ask you to show a couple of other metrics of the server, such as, okay, can you show me like what is the load average on the server? So now being TechOps, you are supposed to be responsible that what command, what appropriate tool you are going to use in order to show the developer the load of server. Maybe it could be a Linux command. Maybe you may have some monitoring tool enabled where on GUI you can display the load of the server. The developer may ask you, okay, can you show me the particular memory utilization of the server? Again, same process will be followed. Maybe you can pick some Linux command to run, or maybe you have some monitoring tool enabled. The user may ask you to check about the like network performance, about disk performance, about server, rest of parameters. So being L2, you are supposed to tell, okay, yes, these are the particular metrics which is being done on this. Maybe a developer may ask you, okay, can you tell me how many requests per seconds are coming on this particular application? A developer may ask you, can you tell me like how much memory is this particular process consuming? Let us say there are 5 or maybe 7 processes running, and one process is failing. Rest all are working fine on the same server. So a developer may ask you, can you tell me like how much memory or how much CPU does this process consume while running? So based on that analysis, developer will modify the particular code itself in order to optimize it, or may ask you to make some modification on the server. Do I make sense so far, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Any questions so far, guys? Guys, just to clarify once more, the particular batch is for sure going to be for Linux administrator. But before that, I am trying to set some context like why do we need to go for Linux administrator? If you become Linux administrator, that what sort of roles and responsibility, what sort of profile you can expect after completion of this particular course. Right, guys? Okay. Now, let us say if you are promoted once again, so you will become either L3 or you can call that tech ops. Either you will be given a particular profile of tech ops engineer or you will become L3 engineer. Now, what is L3? So guys, tech ops are basically responsible for troubleshooting. Now, what is that? What is this troubleshooting? For example, the particular server is running out of disk space. You got an alert. You have some sort of monitoring tool in place. You got an alert. Now you will log into server being L3. L2s are not supposed to go for troubleshooting a lot. Reason being, because if they are that much confident that they can do it, so for sure they also have equal rights as tech ops. L2 and L3 are given equal rights on the server. Equal right means they have administrator access on the server, but the difference here is whenever L2s are there, so they will do analysis. Okay, L2 will ask to L3 engineer that I have analyzed these many things so far, and I found that this could be a particular culprit. So please give me a confirmation whether I can go for fixing it, or do you feel that we need to do further debugging of the issue, right? Based on L3 confirmation, either L2 can execute the command, or if there is a conflict between both, so L3 will be responsible to make L2 understand, okay, this is how we need to troubleshoot it, because going forward, L2 will also become L3 based on the particular support from L3 engineer, right? So either you can call that L3 engineer or you can call that tech ops engineer. Clear, guys? So L3 or tech ops are basically responsible for running couple of troubleshooting commands as well. For example, it is related to disk. It is related to your network, memory, CPU, or maybe like some additional loads increasing on the server. What sort of processes are running on the server? What kind of processes are running on the system, on the server, which are taking a lot of CPU, memory, network, and others. That kind of expectations are set from a person who is known as tech ops or L3 engineer. Now, there is one more profile, which is known as SRE. SRE stands for, guys, Site Reliability Engineering. This is a term which was given to this particular profile by Google. So it's been more than a decade when this particular word name was given to particular profile. Now, guys, so far I have not discussed even single time about automation. Now, what is automation? Let us say when I go to my office, I have some certain piece of work which I have to perform on daily basis. Let us say there are 50 servers on which I have to run couple of commands. Let us say, first of all, I'll check the CPU, I'll check memory, I'll check disk, I'll check network utilization on 50 servers. Then if disk space is getting full, I know the command that how I can clear it out. I know the command that how this is supposed to be compressed. I know the command that after compression, how will I check whether compression is done completely or not? I know the command that how will I copy this particular backup file, this zipped file is known as backup file as well, that how will I copy this backup file to some remote backup server. Once the backup is confirmed, I am quite pretty sure about it that how do I check that whether the complete backup file has been copied to remote server or not. I have idea about the command that how to remove that backed up file from actual server. Once everything is done, I jump onto next server. So guys, automation is something like rather than executing same command every day on the all set of servers, why do we not put all the commands in a single file and execute them either on daily basis or monthly or weekly or whatever is the time period you want. Moreover, when we will grow further, so there is no need to run those commands manually. Although first of all, you executed all the command one by one, that was your like L1 or L2. When we are becoming a tech ops, so we start thinking beyond the box. Now we will try to automate the process. So that automation parts are associated. So a tech ops engineer can also go for automation. There is no restriction so as such, but yes, SRE engineers are basically supposed to perform all the tasks which are performed by tech ops engineer along with automation part. So there are some expectations like all the repeated tasks which are being done on daily basis across the environment. So these sort of tasks are supposed to be automated as well. Right? So now SRE engineer will be responsible to automate the tasks which are performed by tech ops. And why do I say that SRE engineer will be responsible to automate it? Because SRE has to have the complete understanding of tech ops. Because if a SRE engineer does not know like what are the roles and responsibility and the commands executed by a tech ops engineer, then how will this person be able to automate that? In which particular sequence the person is going to put the command? There will be a couple of loops like for loop, while loop, like there are a couple of loops. Obviously we will discuss later on when we will go to like automation part. We will discuss that, don't worry. So SRE engineer, so these are the particular profile which you can which you may feel fit into after completion of this particular course, the level of understanding which we are going to have here. So guys, this is the particular thing which we are going to discuss right now, which we are discussing right now. So this will help you to prove that at least for 5 years, like if you have understanding of all the things, then you can show up to 8 years of experience. See, the expectation from a person who is going to face interview are on different level. The particular things which we are discussing right now, these things are known to such a person who has at least 8 years of experience. Let me tell you very clearly, because the person when grows with the experience, so the person has idea about the working style of organization. The person has idea about the roles and responsibility of a person. Let us say you are working as a lead and there is a new person joins in the team. So what kind of work you are supposed to assign that person, that will be depending on your experience, like when you were at that level. So what kind of tasks were assigned to you? Otherwise, after listening only, after going through this, it is not very much clear that what task to assign to whom. So guys, I do not teach only, I share my personal experience with you. I have been teaching for more than 15 years now. So I am just going to share my personal experience as well as I am telling you right now, like what are the roles and responsibility, what will be expectations from you after, like once you join any organization, like how will you grow, what will be your growth part. So guys, when you have reached up to this particular SRE level, then you can think of DevOps position. I will not say that from TechOps you will have to be SRE, then after you will become DevOps. But if you have learned a couple of other tools, like it is going to be Git, Jenkins, Docker, Ansible, Prometheus, MySQL, Apache, ELK sort of tools, if you have learned, then for sure, guys, you can think of yourself as to be a particular TechOps engineer, or as a DevOps engineer. Right, guys? Any questions so far? Guys, any questions so far?
Sir, what might be the primary difference between a DevOps and SRE because they are used interchangeably sometimes.
Yes. So the basic difference between SRE and TechOps are, so SRE is going to be like limited to production environment only. Wherein DevOps, let us say if there's a new project coming in your organization, a new technology set is supposed to be supported by your dev as well as your ops team. So first of all, DevOps will be responsible to set up the environment into dev environment, into QA environment, into SIT environment, across the functionality of our organization. They will set it up. Moreover, DevOps team will set up the environment maybe into production as well, or will give a particular very clear understanding to TechOps and SREs that yes, this is how it is going to work. These are the major functionality of it. This is how we are going to manage it. So DevOps team, first of all, will help developers to set up the environment, then to ops team, you can call the TechOps team, to help them to set up and help them to operate. Let us say if TechOps gets stuck anywhere, because DevOps has set up the particular environment multiple times, maybe first of all on development environment, then QA environment, then SIT, then pre-prod environment, and finally on prod. So DevOps has much more understanding of the software which is being introduced in the organization. So that is why DevOps team has to be much more responsible to support developers as well as operations team. We can call it operation team as well, like technical operation, right? Moreover, DevOps team has control and hold on multiple different tools. Because see, there is a particular concept like why did DevOps came into picture? There was a concept like if everything was working on development environment, developer used to say it is working in our environment. We do not know like what you have done in your production environment. We are not going to help. It is your task to make it work because it is working in there. Ops team used to say when we received this piece of software, we found that it is not working. So there was always a conflict of interest. Dev team used to blame to ops, ops used to blame to dev. But end of the day, who used to suffer? The organization. So organization developed a particular bridge between development and operation, which is known as DevOps. So DevOps team cannot say no to any work. Reason being, if they say it is work of dev, so dev is also added within their position. Like DevOps team must be capable enough to understand the particular code written in any language. I do not say they are supposed to be responsible for maybe debugging the issues, fixing the issues, but at least they should have understanding of that level that they can read the code. I do not say they are supposed to modify the logic, they are supposed to optimize the code, but at least they are supposed to be responsible to read the code, like what is the particular code going to do. They cannot say like this is ops work. Why it is so? Because ops is also added there. If TechOps team is stuck anywhere, they need some sort of support from DevOps team. They will have to be there. Reason being, they are ops as well. So DevOps is much more responsible team in the entire infrastructure in order to provide support to developers as well as to TechOps team. But these teams are not much more responsible for operation. This team is responsible to take the code from developer and push it to operations. Like production servers, once the code or the particular application is pushed to production environment, then SRE and TechOps are supposed to be handling that or supporting that application. Do I make sense? Am I clear on that?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions so far, guys? I would love to answer. Because I can understand your curiosity. The course is related to Linux and I'm talking about the profiling only so far. Any other questions, guys? If you have. Silence means no, okay. So guys, there are, when we are talking about, okay, let's clear it out. There are different type of environment when we are talking about. So first of all, there is a particular environment known as DMZ. DMZ you can call that, or DMZ you can call that. What is it? I'll tell you. Second kind of environment is known as prod, or you can call that production. But I would like to write it prod only. Then after it is TND. So guys, based on network. So first of all, we segregated the environment based on the servers. Now we are trying to segregate or isolate the servers based on the network design. So guys, there are three types of applications. So most of us might have heard of sometime or sometime or the other that there is a particular 3-tier architecture. Is there anyone aware of it? 3-tier architecture.
No, sir.
Any other one? Ajay, Anand, Arun, Dhananjay, Shamim. Can you please explain that?
Is it development, QA and production?
No, it is not like so. Thanks to God, I asked and I got to know that you are thinking in some different way. Okay, let me tell you guys. So this particular piece is known as 3-tier architecture. 3-tier. This is known as 3-tier architecture. Like this is first layer, or you can call it tier or layer. First layer here is web server. Second layer here is app server. Third layer here is DB server. This is known as 3-tier architecture. First, second, and third. So, guys, we need to understand all the web servers. Web server means where end user is going to hit. This is going to be the very first endpoint for our end user. For example, if we try to access Facebook, try to hit Insta, Twitter, anyone, whatever is your favorite social media platform, you can think of it. So when a user try to hit the very try to open application, so first of all request will go to firewall, because let us say Facebook is not allowed in India. So first of all the firewall will check, okay, whether the IP address where request is coming from belongs to India or not, right? Second thing, the load balancer. Let us say we have for handling Instagram kind of traffic, we do not need only single web server. There might be hundreds of web server available. So load balancer is going to be responsible to distribute the load among multiple servers, right? So whether it is firewall, load balancer, these will be put inside DMZ. DMZ means demilitarized zone. This is the particular zone where highest level of security is placed. Moreover, very limited number of ports. Ports means where the services run. So whenever we start a service or a process that consumes a particular port in order to serve the traffic. Guys, are we aware of the port numbers?
Yes, sir. Oh, DMZ.
Okay, let me try to relate with a particular generic example. So let us say that one of my friend is trying to send me a particular letter or some kind of greeting card is trying to send me. So what kind of information will that person want from my side? First of all, my address, and what sort of address I'm going to provide. So first of all, I'll tell my home address. Then the person is going to ask you that I do not want only this, I want additional information as well, such as that first of all, I need your home number. Like what is your house number, right? Then after the particular area pin code. So you can understand that area pin code is equal to IP address and that house number is port number. Because within the same pin number, within the same pin address, within the same geographical pin, which we usually have, right? So as we know, like 110001, so that is of New Delhi. 110030, that is of maybe some other area in Delhi, right? So when we are talking like same way, like there is a specific area pin for every specific geographical location, right? So that way. So if we assume that pin number is equal to IP address of a server, the same way the house number or the home number, the flat number can be considered as a port number of an application, right? So very limited number of ports are opened on DMZ because this is the particular reason where multiple servers are placed, and most of servers are associated with two type of IP address. First of all, it is private IP address and public IP address. And guys, just for your information, public IP address are those IP address where internet works. Keep this thing in mind. Public IP address are the IP addresses where internet works. What does that mean? That if we all are connected right now with this particular meeting over the internet, then you can type in a particular, or like you can open a website in your browser, like what is my IP address? Then it is going to tell you, let me give that example. What is my IP? If I hit this particular, then it is going to tell me some IP address. Like this is my current IP address. Same way, you will also have a public IP address associated with your server, associated with your laptop, desktop, or whatever device you are using right now to attend this meeting, right? Fine. So guys, DMZ zone is a particular zone where most sensitive and the particular servers which are directly interacting with our end user, with our client, or with our customers, you can give any name to those particular set of users. So this is known as DMZ. Here, web servers, most of time load balancer and firewalls are placed in DM zone, in DMZ, DMZ or DMZ, you can call that demilitarized zone. These are highly secure server, right? Okay, then after it is known as prod zone. Now, what does that mean? So our web server and application servers are placed inside prod zone. Now, what does that mean? What is prod zone? What is additional functionality we are getting here? So guys, we do not attach any public IP address within prod zone or within production zone. Keep this thing in mind. This is we are trying to segregate, we are trying to bifurcate the servers based on the network architecture. Otherwise, why do we not do like we can place all the servers like in parallel to DMZ? Isn't it? So let us say we are going to place our web server, application server, and database in the same zone. Like our database has private, private and public both IP address. So this will be really easy for a hacker to access, right? But if we have designed it in that way, like first of all, a person will have to enter into our DMZ zone, then after it, the person will go to web server, application server. And if somehow or the other, the person is able to breach security of application server, then from here, the person will go to database, right? So why we are designing in this particular way? Because we are always trying to increase the security. Clear, guys? Are we clear so far? The major difference here is the servers which are placed in DMZ, these servers do have private as well as public IP address. These servers do not have public IP address, but yes, if there is any requirement that any of these servers do need to have internet access, like no one from internet will be able to reach out to this server directly, but yes, the couple of services which needs to download data from internet will be allowed to access internet via some proxy. These servers will be allowed. I do not say like each and every server will be, there will be a use case where we need to provide internet to every server, right? But there will be a couple of situations when maybe like 5%, maybe 10% of my servers have a need where these servers need to download some data from internet, then process it and then serve it to their customers, right? So rather than providing public IP address, we provide a proxy IP address to this particular server, and these servers will be able to reach out to internet, but from internet, no one will be able to reach out to these servers directly via SSH, maybe via for hitting any IP address, for hitting any service, for accessing any service directly here. So prod zone is the particular zone where we keep our application servers and database servers. But yes, in order to have identification and isolation of DB and app servers, we prefer to have a separate VLAN for database servers, as we shall be able to identify the servers based on their IP addresses. So that is why we prefer to have a separate IP address series for DMZ servers. We prefer to have a separate VLAN, separate IP address series for prod servers, and we prefer to have a separate IP address range or IP address range, IP address VLAN for database servers. Although prod zone will contain app and DB both servers, because neither we assign any proxy to like all the web servers or to all the database servers. Are we clear so far, guys? Any questions? And for sure, TND means like this is for development environment. We may or we may not have public IP address associated with all the servers based on the business requirement. Are we clear so far, guys? Any questions?
What is this TN?
So guys, TND means test and development. So based on the requirement,
Okay.
this environment may or may not have public IP address associated with all the servers. This is separate zone, and guys, there is no connectivity between TND and prod. There is no network connectivity between both, because in this particular environment, developers have access. Over here, like within prod and within DMZ, only your this particular like guys like SRE, your tech ops and your DevOps has access. Developers do not have access to any of the production server. Yes, there might be a use case. Let us say you have created a separate server over here. Let us say this, like all the servers, let us say all the web servers and all the prod servers, all the database servers are pushing their logs to this particular centralized server. So in order to understand the logs pattern, so these developers may have read-only access to this particular single server in production environment to check the logs only. Otherwise, where the applications are running, it is not recommended to provide developers access. Are we clear with that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Prabhat is asking for DMZ to explain once more. All the web server or all the internet facing servers, wherever we need to assign public IP address based on the business requirement, we need to place in DMZ. So it could be a firewall, it could be load balancer, it could be a web server. These kind of servers we need to place inside DMZ, demilitarized zone. Okay. So now let us clean this up.
Sir, can you tell me about logs?
Yes, sure. So what are logs? So let us say if I am trying to, let us say I dragged this particular image from here to here. Did I perform anything? Yes, guys, did I perform any activity here? Okay. Once again, I copied this one from here to here.
Drag and drop.
So whenever I'm dragging and dropping anything from here to there and there to here, so these kind of activities are tracked under applications log. Like if a user is trying to log in, for example, you are working with, you are trying to purchase something, maybe over internet, you are working on Flipkart, you are trying to purchase any product. So first of all, whenever you will click on any item, if you are scrolling as well, then those particular clips are being captured by the particular application itself. That is known as application traceability. So for example, there is a particular term known as RUM, R-U-M, RUM. Do not take me otherwise, do not go for the winters. But yes, that is known as real user monitoring, because when we call it RUM, people take it some other way. So it is known as RUM, R-U-M. RUM means real user monitoring. What does that mean? So that means if a user is, for example, that you went on Flipkart, you scrolled maybe for 5 minutes, but then after you pick one product, you added that product to your cart and you did not check out. Check out means you did not purchase it. Then once again, some other user came, user scrolled maybe for first top 10 or maybe 20 pages, then after user went off. So if there is a particular page where most of users are coming and dropping off, which means the particular organization who is responsible to handle the user experience section, they will come onto that particular page and will try to identify that what is wrong with this particular page, why most of users are dropping from the website after coming onto this particular page. Is there something wrong with this particular page? Does this page take a lot of time to get loaded? Does this particular page has that kind of products available that most of users become uninterested to surf further or to browse further, right? So that particular term is known as RUM, real user monitoring. So there are different kind of tools available in market based on which we shall be able to identify each and every activity of our users. And those user activities are tracked by the services itself, and those activities are logged or are kept inside a file, and that file is known as log file. Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, let's move ahead. So now, guys, we have discussed about DMZ, we have discussed about pros on about TND. Now the very final thing, like what kind of infrastructure do we have? What kind of infrastructures do we have based on the utilization? So the very first kind of, like, how does the journey of a development start? So the very first kind of environment here is going to be that is known as dev. And what does that mean, dev? So guys, keep this thing in mind whenever a particular business starts. So first of all, there is a particular piece of work which is known as development, right? First of all, there will be environment known as development. Over here, all the developers are supposed to work. They will write some code, they will do test on it, they will try to display this particular test. Then after, when they feel okay, now it looks good, so they will have another environment known as QA. QA means QA or test less QA, we can write it because I really do not want to have a confusion like between test and QA. Both are same. Either you can call it testing environment or you can call it QA, like quality assurance environment. Over here, there is a separate group of people who are also engineers, like developers, like DevOps, like TechOps, like you, like me. So these engineers are responsible to perform the sanity check, the quality check on the software. Let us say you are working with a financial institution. There is a use case. Developer has developed everything but forgot to place a check. Let us say if I have only 5,000 rupees in my account and I am able to transfer 10,000. If that happens once, then this is my wish that if I want to breach my limits, I will try to send 50,000 rupees, although there is no single rupee kept in my account. So all the positive and negative test cases are supposed to be conducted by the testers, by the QA engineers. Are we clear with that, guys? Any questions so far? If there is no noise, I'll understand that silent means no. Okay. So guys, the next environment here is that is known as SIT. What does that mean, guys? SIT. So guys, SIT stands for System Integration Test. System Integration Test. Now, when we have an environment known as prod, let us keep it here somewhere. So let us say we have a couple of softwares which are already running into production environment. Let us assume that we agree that we got part of that environment which has already been running maybe for a year or so, right? So when we talk about, okay, let us say PHP version is 5.5, let us say MySQL version is, let us say 5.7 or so and so forth. Let us say it is maybe Apache, and Apache is running, let us say 1.2 version. This kind of like these are just random numbers. I do not have exact idea about it. These are imaginary versions of application. You can, but yes, these used to be sometime like in existence before a couple of years. But yes, so PHP 5.5 is running into production environment, MySQL 5.7, Apache 1.2. These kind of softwares are running into production environment, but yes, based on the performance, let us say there are some bugs. There are some recommendations from security team that this is really old version of application which you are using, upgraded. So as and when there is a requirement comes, so first of all, developer will do development with, let us say PHP 8.0. Let us say MySQL 8.01. Let us say Apache 2.4. So these are the particular changes which have happened. Now, we need to ensure that once we upgrade the software into production environment, so what will be the performance of it? Will the operating system, let us say we are working right now, RHL 7 is working over here, and we have tested over here in SIT in RHL 8. So we need to ensure that the particular operating system which we have in production environment, same version of operating system, we need to test all the software in SIT first, because once we plan to upgrade in production environments, that should not go down. That's why we need to check the performance of these softwares into non-production environment. This is known as system integration test. System integration testing environment we need to have, where we can check the performance of updated software here before pushing to production. For example, usually we have at max, we have 20,000 hits per second. So, but for handling those 20,000 hits, we have 6 servers available into production environment. So we need to test at least 5,000 hits on a single server for at least half an hour on SIT environment. That is known as load testing as well, you can call that. But yes, we need to run these kind of tests into SIT, system integration test environment, that whether PHP is taking more time, MySQL or Apache is taking more time in order to process a single request. If we do so, only then we shall be able to proceed with the further deployment, further upgradation of the software inside production environment. So that particular third environment is known as SIT, which stands for system integration test. Are we clear with that, guys, so far?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now,
Sir, can you explain one more time SIT, system integration?
so let us say the piece of software which are already running into production environment, it means these are well tested. But let us say whenever we plan to upgrade these, so we need to be quite sure of it that yes, right now these softwares are well tested. Before pushing the particular updated version of software to production, we have to have an environment where we can check all the performance of this particular piece of software. That environment is known as SIT, system integration test.
Okay, like PPD, pre-production test.
Pre-production is something else. We'll come on to it. Then after there will be
Okay.
environment known as UAT. Now, what does that mean, UAT? UAT stands for user acceptance test. The particular business team who gave you the requirement, right? So let us say they wanted you to change the color of the homepage. They wanted to change the icon. They wanted you to change the picture on the which is available on that. They wanted to change you the font of the text, kind of. So whatever changes business team suggested developer to do development, like in this particular sequence, when the changes will be deployed to this particular UAT environment, business team will come and check at this particular platform in order to give sign up that yes, all the changes whatever we expected have been done based on our requirement and we are good to go. Clear, guys? After UAT, there is a particular environment which is known as pre-prod. Now, guys, what does that mean, pre-prod? Like it is looking like prod, but what is pre? So let us say there is a particular like URL. Let us say www. burger.com. All users comes to this particular URL only. But if I make any changes, then all the users which are currently accessing my website will get impacted. So rather than making changes directly to this particular environment, I have one parallel environment known as pre-prod. So all the changes will be treated like production, but only limited users will have access to this environment. So we will have another user, we will have another application. Let us say it is www.pre-burger.com. Right? So only limited number of users from our organization only will have access. And moreover, we can put some restrictions that if this URL is being accessed from this specific IP address, let us say whenever testing happens, so there are a couple of IP addresses from our office, let us say it is 12.12.12.12. Like if this is the IP address /8, only then this website should get open, and this is the IP address of our, like you can call it office. Let us say 12, 13, 14, 15. Like these 4 IP addresses we have whitelisted. That if IP address is 10.12.12.12 or 13 or 14 or 15, only then this preburger.com should get open, otherwise not. Because we cannot make this URL live for everyone. Whenever you guys make any changes, whenever, let us say you are trying to purchase a burger from here, so that will be a real order. Keep this thing in mind, guys. That will be a real order. For example, you are trying to like transfer some money from your account to some other one. That will be real transfer. But URL is different because first of all, you guys are making changes for some set of users which belongs to your environment. So let us say if I ask you, okay, I'm sending you maybe like 100 rupees for testing. Please refund me once the testing is done. Next time you will send me as piece of testing. So that is known as pre-prod environment. So most of time, all the transactions are supposed to be real transactions, but are performed by in-house employees of the organization. Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Great. Finally, we talk about prod environment, and there is nothing to talk about it. So this is the real-time environment. This is real environment for which we all are supposed to work going forward. This is known as prod environment, where actual users comes, all the real-time issues comes here. We are supposed to troubleshoot here. We are supposed to support this particular system to be available at max. Like as much as this particular system can be stable, can be online, can be available, can be performing as much as it can. So we all work with a constructive mindset in order to make this particular activity successful. Any questions so far?
So what are the production issue might be happen, sir?
It could be any. No one can say like, okay, these are kind of issues which happens in production environment, that based on environment to environment and issue type to issue type. For example, there is an alert coming in for last 5 days that this particular server is running out of disk space. That could be a human miss. The person did not notice that, yes, these kind of alerts are coming and this may lead to some kind of downtime. If disk is 100% full, server will go down. For example, we are using an application which is memory intensive. So you guys are getting an alert from last maybe like 3 days that application memory has been consumed 95%, maybe 98%. So suddenly there will be a particular moment when your application will stop working, stating that out of memory. There is a killer known as killer. So that will trigger itself and that will kill your process. Okay, let us say you know that there is a particular common switch within your network diagram. Multiple VLANs are getting like connected over here. This is a trunk port where multiple VLANs are connected. The capacity of that port is, let us say, like 10 GB PS. Right now it is running on 9.9 gig. It means only 100 Mbps bandwidth is left. But let us say if there is a particular service which is started generating a lot of data which is passing through this particular switch, so it will get consumed 100% and a lot of packet loss will start happening. Maybe this particular port may go down. So sometimes there are human miss. Let us say the developer forgot to add a condition. Let us say that when developer was doing development, developer forgot to add maybe some like environment variables and push the code to production. Maybe when database backup was like happening, so we forgot to lock the tables. Maybe while we are like replicating one application from source to destination, rather than taking backup, we move the entire application. So these are human miss. A lot of kind of issues can be there, right?
So sir, issue only application server or product database server related or network related also, sir?
It could be related to anything.
Anything, right?
Related to load balancer. For example, that load balancer got rebooted. So all the applications which are underlying that particular load balancer, that particular listener or that particular port where from we are receiving traffic, applications will automatically not receive the traffic. Let us say someone was trying to patch the firewall. All the firewall rules which were already in place, so these got modified. Maybe there is a particular vulnerability in the patch itself. The patch could not be applied completely, that or maybe successfully. So that has choked, that has blocked all the traffic which was flowing through firewall. So neither we can call it a human miss, because based on the like prior communication, that firewall being patched or that firewall being was updated, some new set of rules was supposed to be implemented, but maybe because of human miss or maybe the particular glitch in the like patch which was provided from the vendor, the firewall stopped working. That has blocked entire network. These could be possible issues, right? Let us say when you started taking backup. So there are multiple kind of backup servers available. So where you are taking backup of your application, right? So you are just copying logs from log server. In the same time, some database administrator also prefer to take backup on the same server. I'm talking about same physical hardware, right? That has maybe like 2 exabyte of disk space. Suddenly what happened? Some database went down. And why that so? Because the particular amount of disk IO which was being consumed by you and the particular database administrator who were taking backup, like you were taking backup of your logs and some other one was taking backup of their database server. So all the IO means input output per second, IOPS. These are consumed by those operations which were not supposed to be performed in the peak hours. That may also lead to some kind of downtime. So issue may be because of anything. And in order to understand the issues up to that level, we have to have understanding of like complete infrastructure, like, okay, what could be the issue here? What could be like possible like solution for this and that kind of.
So, sir, how usually we get this issue? Like, it's a monitoring tool is there where through that we are
Yes.
notified that. Okay.
Yes, there are
So,
monitoring tools available. Like we have APM's application performance monitoring tool, which provides the visibility from end to end. Like since the request of a user enters into an environment, so what all particular services are being consumed in order to serve the request of the user, where it is taking how much time, what particular component is running at like warning level, which is down, that sort of. Yes, Prabhat is saying Splunk tool, so it could be Splunk, it could be New Relic, it could be your Datadog, it could be your App Dynamics, it could be your like open source APM with that comes with Elasticsearch. A lot of number of tools are there.
so, sir, as we learned that from production server, we can like live data is coming. So, how many production servers required for a stable application, sir?
Not a specific number, that depends on the kind of request which we are receiving, the kind of hardware which we have allocated. Let us say if we have only 2 CPU and we have, let us say 4 GB of RAM, so maybe 100 servers will be required. But let us say we have 64 CPU and maybe 128 GB of RAM, so maybe six server will survive. So that does not depend like number, like count of servers. That depends on the like amount of hardware which we have associated with the particular servers which we are going to place in order to serve the request. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now, as this particular session was like dedicated for Linux, so I'm going to tell you how to create a machine and how to log into it. Otherwise, you guys will say that batch was for Linux and that is yet not started. So how's the experience so far, guys?
Nice, sir.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Because guys, why am I telling you all these things? Because it is not just that we need to learn. We should learn the couple of commands, how to execute these, but we should have a particular rationalization, like why we are going to do this. If we are trying to learn Linux, that where are we going to be in future? What will be our progress bar? What will be our like promotional track? If we are being promoted from where to where we can think of. So that sort of understanding we should have, because see, until and unless you have a particular goal, right? a goal without target and a proper path is just a wish. Let me tell you guys, a goal without a target is just a wish. I want to be rich. That is my goal. But when I want to be rich, how much amount do I need to have in my account? Right? So until and unless your goal is bound with a target, with a proper approach, that is just a wish. And there is a saying in English, if wishes were horses, beggars might ride. Right? So that way it works. Okay, let's move ahead. So guys, this is my AWS account, and I would request you that you all please have your own AWS account, because I'm not going to provide you with access of it, because this is paid account. And sort of what to call about paid account. So far the particular tools which you need to learn, the particular kind of stuff which you will require. So this is going to be under free tier only. I trust that most of you may have AWS account. If you do not have, then you can create your own AWS account. It will charge you only 2 Indian rupees if you are going to associate from India. If it is out of India, so it will charge you maybe $1 or so. But yes, for sure, it will return the amount. It will refund the amount to you guys as is after maybe 72 hours. So maybe within 72 hours as well sometimes. Okay, guys. So what version of RHL would you be interested in? RHL 6, 7, 8, or 9? Because right now we have RHL 9 as well in place.
I think 9, sir.
Okay, not a problem. I don't have any problem with that because I've gone through all. Fine. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to tell you that how do we create a machine and how do we log into it? This is just to show you that, yes, even I know that a couple of things about Linux operating system. That's why I'm going to tell you this. Otherwise, this was intended to be a particular demo session only to make you aware of it, like what you can be, where you are right now, what should be your progress bar, how you should prepare for it, what are the particular positions available in market where you can fit into that sort of things I was supposed to discuss, but not a problem. So it is going to be Linux box. I prefer to call it Linux box rather than Linux server. I don't know, but I like it. So guys, this is going to be Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 HVM SSD volume type. So guys, this HVM stands for hardware assisted virtualization mechanism or hardware assisted virtualization virtual machine, right? HVM. This is going to be x86 64-bit. This is free tier eligible. Like if you create your account today on 14th of Jan 2023, then your account will be running one EC2 machine with one CPU and 1 GB of RAM for entire one calendar year, like from till 13th of Jan 2024. AWS provides you one EC2 machine for free for one calendar year. So we need not to worry about it. This is the kind of hardware we are going to get: one CPU, one virtual CPU, and 1 gig of RAM. Guys, what is the GIB? What is the difference between GB and GIB?
Gigabyte.
And what is GB?
I'm confused, sir. Sorry.
GB byte.
What does that mean? Not to worry, I'll explain. See, there are two calculations. How many MBs are there in 1 GB?
1024.
Fantastic. That's the like of knowledge I really love. And how many GBs are going to be in GIB? 1000.
Okay.
This is just keeping the calculation simplest, nothing else. GIB contains 1000 GB. With 1000 MBs are there in one GIB. and if we talk about 1 GB, that contains 1024. So just to keep like calculation simpler, so this particular like tabibyte, gigabyte, abibyte, so tabibyte, rather than calling terabyte, that is known as tabibyte, 1 tabibyte equal to 1000 GB. Just to keep TIB, GIB, EIB, so that 24 calculation is gone out of the picture. Nothing else. Okay. So over here, whenever we create a server, so guys, we need to have a particular key pair in order to log into that, because usually the particular the image of this Linux operating system which we have, so usually we do not get a particular user created inside it. So I will explain to you guys someday this particular dashboard as well in very detailed manner. Reason being, because right now we are supposed to at least see the Linux terminal once, because I hope that you must have seen that earlier as well. But yes, for today, at least this is my duty to let you know, like, okay, this is the Linux terminal. So this is for Linux batch. This is my already existing key pair. You can create your new key pair as well. If you are new, you do not have any, then this option to select already existing key pair, you will not get. You will have to create new key pair. Then after, guys, there are two kind of options. If I create new, so either it could be your key pair type, either it is RSA or it is ED 25519. These are kind of encryptions which we have. Moreover, there are two type of files which we are going to get as part of private key file, either .pem or .ppk. So if you are using any kind of terminal, like you are using Git Bash, you are using Ubuntu terminal, Linux terminal, MacBook terminal, like that, that kind of SSH shell, if you are using, so that you will have to download .pem file. But if you are working on a Windows system, you have downloaded PuTTY kind of software, then you need to use .ppk. Yes, you can generate a ppk file from .pem, or you can generate a pem file from that ppk file. So there are some sort of like PuTTY convertible softwares are available which you can use. But yes, if you already are aware of it, that what kind of software you are going to use in order to log into your server, then it is of no use to go for conversion later on. So select a particular kind of file which is suitable for your environment. So obviously I already have a .pem file. I need not to do anything with that. VPC, whether what kind of security group do I need to apply here? Security group means the firewall rules, guys. Without selecting any firewall rule, we cannot create any instance. Right now, I have selected my default firewall rule. And guys, let me tell you the thing which I have done. You guys are not supposed to do that, because I am going to terminate this instance maybe after 30 minutes, right? So I do not have any worry to do, because I have whitelisted all the available ports over internet, that yes, every single port can be accessed on the machine which I'm going to create, because I know that after 10 to 15 minutes, I'm supposed to terminate it. This is kind of hard disk we are going to attach, 10 GB. Now, this is the kind of options which we have, like type of hard disk we can attach, like GP3, GP2, IO1, IO2, cold HDD, throughput, magnetic. So these are different category of hard disk available as of today on AWS platform. We will discuss about this sometime later, but yes, these are the options available. By default, AWS suggests for GP2. This is not encrypted. If we want, we can encrypt this particular hard disk while we are creating this particular machine. Encryption is an additional layer of security which is placed when you are going to keep the data on the top of your hard disk. Now hit launch instance, and that is it. We are good to go. So we are ready with the machine, guys. You can call that virtual server, VM, machine, instance. Any kind of naming convention you can use while you are talking about this particular server. This is a VM, guys. This is a virtual machine, not a container, not a physical server. Select it, and now there is a button known as connect. Hit here. So guys, there are multiple options like EC2 connect, Initially, this particular feature was launched by AWS itself, but it takes at least 5 minutes to connect. Session manager. So in that case, you need to install some kind of agent already within the image, which you are going to use in order to launch your instances. We do not have that option available. So right now, we can have SSH client, which is by default option available for all the EC2 machines, and 99% people connect using this particular option only so far. Yes, people have started opting about EC2 connect and about session manager as well. But yes, most of people prefer to connect with the help of SSH client. Now, what do we need to do here is, I'll open my terminal here. So guys, this is my MacBook Air terminal. This is my MacBook terminal. I want to increase font. So with the help of command and plus button, I can do that. Command and plus. If I type in that, so obviously I have access to it. I'll go to downloads folder and I type in the command which I have already created, which I have already downloaded. I'll hit enter. It will ask me that, do you really rely on the particular server you are trying to connect? That may be harmful to you. That may be harmful to you. So please be careful while giving your consent in order to connect with that particular server. So guys, I'll have to type in YES. If I type in Y, it will not work. I'll have to type in complete YES, yes. That yes, with an ignorant mind, you cannot log into that server. Type in complete. If I type in, I'm done. Like these are a couple of commands, like we can check like OS operating system, etc OS release. So if you see, it is RHL 9.1. Are we clear with this, guys?
Yes.
So so I hope that is it for today, guys. What I wanted to show you, what I want to tell you guys, that is it for today. Now it's time for feedback for the session. Like, how did you find this particular session? Obviously, from tomorrow, we are going to discuss about Linux only. But yes, this was like some sort of background, which I really wanted to set for you guys, that what you will be in future if you go through this particular track. So it's your time for guys for sharing my feedback with me. Please feel free to share either in individual manner or in this particular forum. I would be great to have that. Okay. So Anand is saying that please share your WhatsApp group link for future updates. Yes, definitely. I keep on updating. Just guys, any feedback for me? Anyone would like to share anything? And how did you like the session, guys?
Great, sir. Actually,
Yeah, the session was great. So we got some great inputs about how the actual environment look like in an industrial way. And thank you very much.
Okay. So sure, guys, we are going to meet tomorrow as well at same time. So I have already shared the particular details for registration. Please go for it, and you will definitely enjoy, and you will have a lot of interesting information going forward. So that is it from my end for today. See you tomorrow. I hope to see you everyone in tomorrow's session as well.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Sure, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks much.
A good time. God bless you all.